crafty friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I am making a Oh Hello Spring card today, and I'm just craving spring colors and color in general. So I pulled out this stencil, which is from Maker Forte. You can see I just held an A2 size card behind that, a 4¼ by 5½. And the stencil image is actually bigger than a regular A2 size card. So I decided I'll make a 5×7 card. So I cut down a piece of white cardstock to 7 inches by 10 inches. I scored it at 5 inches and folded it in half. And I'm kind of wishing that I just created a card front that was 5×7 and then a separate card base that was 10×7, scored and folded at 5, because I do go ahead and do the stenciling directly on the card base, and in the end I end up trimming this card apart and creating just a card front out of this and adding it to a different card base. And that's what I would recommend doing. Start with a 5×7 piece of white cardstock that you can trim down when your project is all completed and dried. Now I like to tape on big projects. I like to tape my stencil down, and I'm using the grid to line up my cardstock and my stencil so I can get it pretty straight. I want it straight on the card when I lay it down. And sometimes I will actually add some adhesive, temporary adhesive, to the back of the stencil. Now this is all one stencil. It's not a layered stencil or anything like this. So one of the things I recommend is taping things off. I didn't do that here. I was a bit lazy today, and I wasn't too worried if I got, a little green where the yellow goes, or, a little purple where everything else goes. But sometimes when I want things to be perfect, like I would tape off everything but the leaves, do all the green, then tape over the leaves, pull the tape off the next thing I'm going to color, and just have the things I'm working on with that particular color the only things that are uncovered. So today I'm using some of the Color Hive inks. I love the Color Hive inks. First of all, I love the octagon shape. I think it's fabulous. I love the foam pads, and I'm really loving the colors. These inks are from Maker Forte, and they have been out a little over a year, maybe almost a year and a half. And Maker Forte comes out with 3 new colors every month, which is super fun. And I really have been enjoying, collecting the inks as they release them and growing my collection. 3 ink pads a month has been an affordable pace most of the months for me. Not every month, but most months. And here I've used the Blue Moon color for the green leaves. I love that color. Bubblegum for the hearts and flowers. I used Yellowstone for the dots, and now I'm using Coronation purple for the letters. And I'm trying to be really careful. It would be good to have some smaller brushes. I do have some smaller brushes, but those are for a different brand of ink. So I'm trying to keep them separate. I will be investing in some smaller brushes for this brand of inks also eventually. First, I'll continue to collect the inks one thing at a time, right? So smaller brushes would be good. You could use a Q-tip or a little finger dauber, or you can just tape everything off, or use Post-it notes, or just hold paper over things and carefully move your paper around. So when I finished adding all the color and I took a peek, I was really happy with the way that it looked. And I decided I would try to clean up the green bits a little bit, but instead I just spread the purple around more. And I decided that wasn't going to work very well, and I would stop worrying about it. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing I like this a lot. I love all the colors on there. That's giving me the result I want, but it needs to be stepped up a little bit. So I'm going to I decided I would outline my letters in a black journaling pen. So I used the La Pen journaling pens, and this is a 0.5. I could have pulled out a 0.8 to get a really bold line. I think I probably would have liked that too. I wouldn't use a 0.1 or a 0.3. I think that would be too narrow. So I started doing it with the stencil in place, and I decided I think I'm going to have more control just to carefully do that over the piece itself. So I went around every one of those letters, and I took my time. I edited that out because you don't want to watch all that, but I took my time and did each letter slowly so that I wouldn't slip and miss. Then I pulled out a yellow alcohol marker and just brightened up those little yellow dots a little bit. And as I was doing that, I was thinking, you know what? I really want to add some dimension. So I pulled out some of my Nouveau drops, and these are vintage drops. And this is the Yellow Brick Road color, and I really like this. So I'm just putting really tiny amounts to create those little dots or to cover up the dots there. I really liked them in yellow. I think I like to add a little bit of yellow to most of my projects. I don't know why, it just brightens it up so much. Another thing I was thinking as I'm watching this, I'm kind of wishing I had added some white highlights to those purple letters. I think that would have brightened it up quite a bit too. So I did go pull out some more. I liked it so much. I went and pulled out my Nouveau Crystal drops. This is Bubblegum Blush. And I put that over the bubblegum ink on the flowers and the hearts, and I just kind of filled it in. I sort of made a bunch of dots on the flowers, and with the hearts, I just do like 2 elongated dots in a V shape, and it looks exactly like a heart when I'm done. And then once I got all the dots on the flowers, I kind of pulled the tip of it through it all to kind of blend them together for those flowers. So it looked like one complete flower. And I let that dry a little bit, and then I'll put a dot of that purple. Those purple crystal drops it's called Windsor Wine, and they are glossy. So this adds a lot of texture and dimension to my project, which I think is really fun. And it also adds some shine where all those Nouveau drops land. And I was thinking about doing the leaves, but wasn't quite sure I could get the Nouveau drops to look nice on those leaves. I might try that later on a separate piece of paper to see how that actually works, to see if I could get it to go. And plus, I have never used that green color, and I didn't want to take the chance on that. So to make the leaves more interesting, I'm going to actually add some Copic markers. You can, if you don't have alcohol markers, definitely pull out some colored pencils and add some details with the colored pencils. And I'm being very careful not to smear any of those Nouveau drops that I put in. They really need time to dry, but I want to kind of finish the card, and then I'm going to walk away for a little while. It's the best thing I can do so I don't smear those drops. But I take a green marker, and I'm just doing a few flicks in each leaf, and I'm darkening the stem of each one of these like fronds here, and adding a little bit more interest to it. I'm just adding some details. And a long time ago, I took a class called Beautiful Details, and the instructor always added either pencil or marker details to everything she colored. And I definitely think I like to do that a lot with stencils, because if I just leave it with just ink, then I always feel like it looks a little flat, and I always like to take the project up a notch or two. So I'm just finishing up the leaves, and as I'm doing that, I realize I also want to add some dimension or interest to the letters. So I'm going to pull out a dark purple marker, and I'm going to just go along the left-hand side of each of those letters, And the left-hand side and the bottoms, or the skinny bits, are going to get a little bit of this dark purple, and it kind of tidies up the edge of the letters also. So I kind of like the way that looks, and it just adds, again, a little bit of detail that makes it more interesting. So I do that to all of the letters. And then I'm going to walk away so that those drops have time to dry. I feel like I'm just pushing my luck doing this while those Nouveau drops are still wet. And I'm loving all the color. For some reason today I just loved it. What I don't love is that this is on the card front, and this is essentially a single layer card, and I don't like it on just the white. Just like doing this on the card base. Sometimes I love it, not today. So I let it dry. I actually went and had dinner, read a couple more chapters in a good book I'm reading. Then I came back and I trimmed the panel down. The Nouveau drops were dry, so I trimmed the panel down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then I took that Blue Moon color and I just went around the edges. Notice that I'm leaving that center really dark or really light. I left the center white, and then I cut a new card base. Again, that was 7 inches by 10 inches, scored and folded at 5.5. And I went ahead and added some foam tape on the back. Now I have this 2-inch foam tape that I just got. I haven't decided if I like it. First of all, it's got a very strong odor. PUE. It's like really powerful. If you sat around that too long, you could get a headache from that. I do like that I can put 2 pieces on this. It seems more cost effective than using like 6 pieces of the 1/2 inch stuff. So I'm popping that up on the foam and I'm putting it down, centering it on my card base. And I like it. I think I want to add a little bit more sparkle. So I'm going to pull out some of Maker Forte's Crown Jewel gems. I just got some new ones, and I want to say they're called April Showers, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But they're like blue with some green in them. They're sort of a variegated color, and they're so pretty. So I put a bunch of those around the card. I added a little glue, and that completes my card. I'm super happy with this just because it was fun to create. I'm just dabbing up some excess glue here. I'll put all the links to the products below. And I hope you like this. I'd love to know what you think. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And if you aren't subscribed, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. And please give this video a thumbs up and share with your friends so they can find me too. And click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. Have a wonderful day.